You may have thought the Hallowed M badge has been sullied in recent years, what with it appearing on everything from big SUVs to mobile phone covers, but fortunately there are still a few gems left in the folio, starting with this one. This is the BMW M2, the smallest and most affordable M car money can buy. It puts a 2 Series on a gym schedule with suspension upgrades, brakes and a variable locking rear differential, all borrowed from the bigger M4. There are huge air ducts, 19-inch forged alloy wheels, Michelin Pilot Supersports rubber and the trademark quad exhausts. This is the 2018 model year M2, so it features all the same micro tweaks that have appeared on the entire 2 Series range, but honestly, you'd need an M-branded anorak to tell the difference. There may be new LED headlamp graphics and slightly tweaked air vents, but the really cool bits are inside, a super crisp instrument binnacle and the latest iDrive infotainment system complete with a touchscreen. What doesn't change is under the bonnet, which is BMW's N55 motor, a classic 6-cylinder with a 3-litre capacity strapped together with a single twin-scroll turbocharger to develop 365 brake horsepower at 6,500 RPM.
We appreciate that in the land of 400 brake horsepower M4s or 600 brake horsepower M5s, this may sound like the equivalent of wearing a pair of performance slippers, but to get the best out of cars like the M4, you'd be after racing circuits, not B-roads.
And this is where the M2 starts to carve an advantage. This engine is every bit as serious at going fast as an M3 or an M4, and yet here, on roads like this, it feels more fun. Am I sat here wishing they had more horsepower or carbon ceramic brakes? No, not at all. Because torque is the real champion here. That's the feeling that you get in your chest as you're accelerating. And the M2 has an abundance of it. It dominates the character of this engine in the same way the German muscle car styling dominates the exterior. It is just a part and parcel of what this car is about, really. And what's nice about it is that it means it's a more usable performance. You don't need to be exploring the upper limits of the rev range to truly get the best out of this car. You can just pretty much be in any gear, in anywhere on the tachometer, and you'll be having a whale of a time. I also think size has a lot to do with it. In modern car terms, this M2 is little, and yet I'm not exactly struggling for space in here, and nor would two mates in the back. My visibility all round is excellent. The driving position too is brilliantly focused in a way that we've come to kind of depend on from BMWs. And it's all that familiarisation that makes you comfortable in this car, and it helps you build a rapport, an almost instant connection with this thing. It is old school, and in a good way. I've got a manual gearbox. In quite a turn of events, we'd actually recommend this over a dual clutch automatic because it just suits the character of this car so much better. I have analog dials, an actual handbrake. I can't remember the last time I saw one of these things. And even though this is a rear-wheel drive car and it does allow a bit of hooliganism when conditions permit, you will be surprised by how much lateral grip this car has and how pointy the front end feels. This is a daily driver.
There are a few details that make you aware even M Division isn't excluded from cost cutting. The M2 forgoes the signature oil temperature gauge and illuminated gear knob. The car rides on passive dampers, while the dynamic M buttons that allow you to store your favourite driver settings on the M3 and M4 are deleted from this steering wheel. All you have to play with here is Comfort, Sport and Sport Plus.
In truth, you don't miss adaptive dampers. The Sport suspension is firm, but it's compliant, it's never crashy, and the car tends to hunker down the more speed you build. If BMW is taking notes about the M2 CS, which we're hoping to see in 2018, then I would say that this manual gearbox could be a little bit shorter in throw, It could have a slightly more precise shift action. We'd love to see the M Performance seats that you get in the M3 and M4 here. And we'd also like the option to be able to disengage the auto blip function without having to turn off stability control. Surely, in this day and age, if you've gone to all the trouble of buying a manual gearbox, you want to at least try and heel and toe yourself. Is that alright? Thanks, BMW.
M may have a huge legacy, but the M2 is a worthy addition to that huge Hall of Fame. It's compact, fast and hilarious fun, yet functional enough to rely on as a daily, and not so leery that elderly people will shake their heads at you in the street.
The most affordable M car this may be, but it's also one of the best.